person that wouldn't be able to just handle the sitting in silence.
I definitely could if I wasn't doing this. Like, if that all wasn't happening and it was just sitting in 5 minutes of silence, easily.
Well, let's move over to our regular show. What's up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome to the actual episode of the What the Fanboy Show. Tyler, your Queen's Wave is amazing.
A regularly scheduled program.
R.I.P.
Thanks
I
to viewers
apologize
like you.
for being away last week. I was the cause of us not getting to review The Flash on opening weekend.
Don't worry, dude. We're going to hit it on its second weekend box office climb. You know, we're going to hit it
I'm
when
sure
it's going to the moon.
We would have convinced so many more people to go see it.
It's our fault.
Definitely.
It's our fault for the box office.
It probably
blunder.
is. It probably is. At this point, I'm just surprised that Warner Brothers hasn't invested in a Flash-like time machine to use the Speed Force to go back in time and undo some decision making.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Brett. Time travel is not possible.
I don't believe you. I refuse to believe you. And I'll see you in hell.
No, you won't.
Anyways, before we hop into our full Flash review, we should address there were some new trailers that came out this week. The big one
There was a lot.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's not the big one for everyone, but the one that I have like written down, Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, gosh. I forgot about this.
I did too.
Glad
Want to know what kind of impact it had on my life?
Glad I mentioned it then. The next big Spider-Verse villain.
Don't say Spider-Verse. That's a different thing.
Venomverse. Spider-Man Cinematic Universe.
Sony Garbage-verse. The Dumpster-verse.
I am curious what my average ranking of those movies is.
Let's see, Spider-Man was bit by a spider, and that's how he got his powers, so we're going to make it so all the other villains also get bit by their animals that they turn into a villain-averse.
So what I'm
Sorry, that one's kind of
I'm hearing
Just a little bit.
the true message of these movies is go get bit by random animals. Like if you want the power of a hippo, just go wade in the water.
Good luck with that.
Wade in the water, children. Don't listen to that advice. That's not advice. It's very bad advice.
That hippo gonna cut you in half.
Gaylord Master over in the chat. Does Kraven have powers in the comics? I don't know.
So at one point he does get powers, but they're basically just heightened ability more so than powers.
Oh no, Baroque's on his way to the zoo. Baroque, don't do it!
He takes a potion to get them though in the comic. But generally speaking, in most iterations, no.
Okay.
Dude, when that freaking lion bit him, and then the blood goes into his blood, I was just like, here we go again.
Then we get the eyes.
And that was after Russell Crowe was doing whatever the heck he was doing.
Dude, Russell Crowe just kind of does whatever.
He showed up and he's like,
Russell Crowe is definitely in his I'm here for a paycheck
days
era of movie making, and I've got to respect him for it. I don't like it, but I respect him for it. There's two different things.
I would love to be in that era of my life.
Right?
I'm jealous.
Definitely.
I'm like, oh, I just gotta show up and go, hey, this guy looks so annoying.
Are you guys thumbs down on this?
Yes. Yes, easily.
Joining me on the thumbs down train. All right.
I was bit by a penguin and on
Russell
penguin.
Crowe is in his bad
Squawky
accent
squawk.
in movies phase.
Yes, also
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Also true.
Whew.
What would be the worst animal to get bitten by and get turned into a superhero?
A koala.
I disagree.
Koala Man is a show.
Yeah, but they have the highest rate of STDs.
Yeah, they're their biggest risk is chlamydia.
Yeah,
I think.
the danger is too real.
But they're really good at climbing trees.
Honestly,
Sharp claws. They like eating
I would say
plants.
probably a rabbit.
We have baby bunnies in our backyard.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
why,
are
'cause they get
adorable.
killed.
I can't.
Well, constantly.
I will be emotionally scarred when they die.
I'm thinking like a flamingo.
That'd be pretty lame.
Like, oh, I'm here to fight. I can fly. Kicked in the leg and it's broken because you just have these skinnier legs than I got right now.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
What, Luke? What else do we got trailer wise?
Well, To Doom happened, which is Netflix's thing.
Yep.
I do not have everything written down because I didn't care enough to research it, but I feel like I got the big ones.
How dare you?
Did you watch the trailer for Heart of Stone?
I did.
I did not.
Thumbs down.
It's Citadel. It's Citadel, Brett.
Oh boy.
It's Citadel with Gal Gadot. Three-body problem.
Oh, I did see this one,
So I didn't watch this trailer, but I'm interested in it because apparently the books are really good.
So the trailer for me is, boy, this looks like a lot, and I don't know how they're gonna pull it off. So I'm a big sideways thumb because it looks like it has promise, but it also, I just don't trust them. I'll be honest. Like, part of it comes down to who's making it, and I just don't trust them.
Oh, it's the guys who ruined Game of Thrones. Yeah, I'm with you.
The good thing
It's
on
sideways.
that, though, is the books are complete.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
that's good. I think the
is
show
that.
looks pretty, though. Like, visually, I think it looks interesting. There was a teaser, but it was really nothing. And we got character images for The Last Airbender.
Yeah. I thought those looked nice.
Listen, I'm not going to be excited until I finish the show. And I have a finished reaction like, okay, this was good.
Yeah.
Or, okay, this can never actually be accomplished. Listen, I don't think it'll be worse than the Shamhammer's attempt,
Oh, yeah.
but animation to live action, I feel like is risky.
It is.
Animation can get away with so much. And if some stuff just doesn't translate.
No.
So
No, but I did think that the posters or the images looked good.
yeah, looked good.
Looked acceptable.
Hopefully the show isn't booty cheeks. And then this technically wasn't at To Doom, but it's also Netflix. Quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that one.
This looks great.
It's a docu-series, and it follows Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota
I'm so excited.
throughout last season.
I'm so excited for everybody to get the Kirk Cousins experience now because, God, he's terrible. He is so disingenuous. It's unbelievable. I can't wait.
I am super excited to see the behind the scenes of Mahomes because he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like,
Good for them.
what
What a
are
great
the-
choice.
What are the chances of that? Like, it's your first show. It's like, oh, wow, one of our leads for this
Yeah.
thing?
One. I hope they do this
One.
every year.
Yeah.
But see, like my
Oh,
favorite.
they're going to now.
They have to. The best thing about this entire setup, though, is like the selection of players. Because you have Patrick Mahomes, top of the game. You have Kirk Cousins, who like, look, I'm a Washington fan. I have my Capitals shirt on tonight. Clearly, I like Washington sports, minus the Nationals. They're kind of weird. Anyways, you have Kirk Cousins, who is like statistically really, really good, but can just not quite get over the hump. And then you have Mariota, who's like a vet who's fighting for his career in the NFL. So you have like all three extremes, and I just think that's so great for something like this. I'm fired up for this.
I'm really excited too.
I don't binge watch a lot of shows. This is one I'll probably binge watch. When does that come out?
July 12th.
Oh baby, let's go.
Yep. That's when I leave on vacation.
I am gonna be out of town that weekend, so. Dang it.
Did you have any? I have game trailers, but
I didn't have any other trailers.
I don't either.
okay. There was a Nintendo Direct.
Yes.
And I only wrote down two.
Okay.
The first one is Super Mario RPG Remake.
Yep.
I
I never
don't-
played Super Mario RPG, so like
I won't play this one either.
Yeah, I don't have any like crazy ties to it.
But I just saw people being really excited
people
for
are
this.
juiced for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
So I guess if you're a fan of the first one, you can play it again. But they won't remake Zelda. And Super Mario Wonder,
Yep.
which is a new
2D,
2D
yep.
platformer, and you can play as the other characters as well, like Peach, and you can ride Yoshi and probably plays Luigi too. And
Always good to have a Mario platformer.
Oh yeah.
Never can go wrong there.
No.
I've seen a lot of like discussions around that kind of being like this might be the last like run of games before they move on from the Switch. However, I'm not convinced Nintendo will ever move on from the Switch. I don't know if that's true.
Switch 2.0, and then Switch
Switch
2.0 OLED
Bingo.
runs 0.75 teraflops. You can send a fax on it.
And 720p.
Oh, okay, let's give them a little credit. When it's in the TV, it runs 1080.
It's true.
Handheld, though, man, better watch them frames.
Oh boy.
Cool.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, we can move over to our Flash review.
Non-spoiler first.
Non-spoilers. Yes, let's get that out of the way. We will. We'll do non-spoilers here to begin with. You guys got to see this like opening day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was out of the state, so I didn't get to see it until about 3 days ago.
Theater experience for opening night was better.
Well, we
went to the Warren 21.
had to be 21 years old.
Ooh.
Big win.
Yeah, big win. Best decision we've made recently.
Would do it again.
Yeah, if it doesn't close.
I will do it until it closes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to give quick impressions, I think it's a fun and heart-filled movie, but it is definitely flawed. And overall, I think it's a good time.
I agree with that. I have a lot of fun watching it. I actually went and saw it again last night. I wanted to see it in IMAX. And because IMAX is the best experience. Well, it's supposed to be. But like now it's 9 days later.
Yeah.
And it's not doing well. So I was like, great. There'll probably be nobody there. And you know what? There was nobody there. So I sat in the top right corner of the theater and I just got to enjoy it. And I had a lot of fun watching it both times. I think I liked it a little more the second time, but that's kind of normal for me. Because when I go see a movie a second time, I'm not looking for flaws, I guess.
Sure.
Or I shouldn't say that. I'm not just always looking for flaws in a movie. But the flaws that I noticed the first time, or flaws, stuff I didn't like. We don't have to call them flaws.
I said flawed in my little impression thing, and
Now it's stuck in my head.
Luke's running with it.
Like the CG is bad in the movie.
Yep.
Did not bother me at all the second time.
I think, like, even throughout watching it the first time, it's like, it's bad from the beginning. It's just going to be bad.
Yeah.
And you kind of just get used to it.
You see it, and it's just kind of like, okay.
Yep.
But, like, I think the movie is a ton of fun. Ezra is really good.
Ezra is really good.
Which is unfortunate
Yeah.
that everything went down with them, and I just... just so many things went wrong for this movie, and it's a shame because...
There's good here.
There's a lot of good there.
Yep. There is good there.
There's also a lot of things that aren't good there.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would say questionable decisions. But I honestly think it might do really well on HBO. Max.
On Max.
HBO is dead.
I think its physical releases will do well too. I think a lot of people will buy this film.
I think this movie is...
I should also say I have an extreme bias.
Why do you have an extreme bias, Luke? Because you just love the
Because I
Flash
just
that
love
much?
The Flash.
Yeah, the Flash is great.
He's such an underrated character, even with his show.
Sure.
Like I feel like he's never gotten the traction that the Flash character should.
Yeah.
The Flash should be an A-lister.
It also doesn't help that we've gotten all the other speedsters on the big screen before him.
Yeah. You're inevitably going to compare the Flash to Quicksilver, right?
Yeah. And to Makari.
Yeah.
From Eternals.
From Eternals. There's just no way around it, and unfortunately, I don't think that helps this version all that much. Not that Muschietti and Ezra's visual style and how they present things isn't somewhat unique in and of itself. But we've just seen enough of it so many times now. I mean, there's even like a joke about, like, not in this movie, but like we joke about, okay, where's the Quicksilver scene gonna be in the next X-Men movie? It's a thing now. Like, we gotta slow down time. We gotta have a fun, music-led slow-mo sequence. And I think the fact that that's kind of what leads off this movie got me real nervous real fast. I think the second and third act do a lot with Ezra's performance to bring me back into it. But where you guys would say that it was a lot of fun and it has some flaws, I would say that it's flawed and it has some fun. Ultimately, I don't think we're going to rank them that far apart, but I definitely come in with a more cynical, critical, pessimistic view on the movie than you guys do.
Oh, I thought you were talking about life.
And life. I mean, I am the old man over here. Get off my lawn.
I wish I could reach my wallet. Because I just want to show how much of a bias I have towards this character.
You want me to grab it for you?
Sure.
See, but I think there's like a double-edged sword there with bias, right? Because if the worst...
No cash?
The worst...
No cash, bro.
The worst Star Wars fans are Star Wars fans, right?
So, like, to give you guys an idea, and it's not really visible, but I have a Flash bottle opener that stays in my wallet. It's the Francis Manipool New 52 Flash art. Flash probably, outside of Red Hood, my favorite DC character. And you're right, it is a double-edged sword. And at times, watching this, I was like, I don't know that I love this Barry. But, like...
You know what? The second time I watched it...
Good job, yeah.
It really grew on me.
Yeah, I think I could get used to this Barry.
With how different Barry is, where there's, like, kind of not all there. And
yeah. Kind of
different
disheveled.
personality,
Yeah, it grows on you. Like, I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. But there are moments where I'm like, I wish I got this part of this character, and you don't get it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I didn't make the movie. So.
See, and I don't have that background, right?
Yeah.
So I watch this as more of an extension of what Zack Snyder and...
You better be careful saying that in here. You might.
and even to some degree, Joss Whedon, because we are in some way touched by that version, right? Like, even if you try to ignore it, like, you know Barry Allen in this universe through that lens at least a little bit. And I think that Ezra does a really good job servicing that character. I do enjoy the back and forth that they have with the two Barrys. I think Keaton is clearly
Keaton was so awesome.
Keaton's a movie star and he knows he's a movie star and he hasn't lost his edge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's certain actors that as they age, you just feel like they lose that spark.
Yeah.
And Keaton has lost none of it.
If anything, Keaton's kind of resurged. He's having a resurgence.
He's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I think he knows the movie he's in. Mm-hmm. I think in talking about Batman in general, I think Muschietti knows how to choreograph Batman fights. I think that's the most interesting fighting that happens in this movie, unfortunately.
I think Muschietti, outside of fights with Batman, I think everything with the Batman men's in this movie of any substance is really good.
It's good.
This is probably, the best Ben Affleck's Batman is. Like, he has some really good scenes in the 6 minutes he's in the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, and Affleck's even come out and said, like, it was the most fun he's had playing the character.
Sure.
And, like, it was just... Muschietti handling Batman and then getting the Brave and the Bold movie makes so much sense after watching this. Like, I'm sure there's people who are like, oh, the Flash bomb, that's not a good decision. It's a good decision. He's going to do fine.
If somebody would have told me that this movie wasn't going to bomb, I never would have believed them.
Right.
There's too much going on with this movie that it was never going to do well.
The movie's been in development for like 12 years.
Yeah.
No, we didn't even think it was gonna come out.
Yeah, I think
Like,
all of us were saying like just put it on
Max,
HBO.
just throw it out there, right? And it's got a theatrical release, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, I definitely, there's a conversation to be had when it comes to Warner Bros. Discovery and David Zaslav, and even Gunn to a certain extent in kind of the overhyping of this movie.
Definitely didn't do it any favors.
They should not have done that.
Did not do it any favors.
Definitely did not do it any favors.
It's good to be confident in your product.
Yeah.
It's another thing to like just flat out lie about your product.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I don't think
he's lying.
I don't think they're lying.
Because
maybe Zaslav, but I don't think Gunn.
I don't think Gunn was lying. And if you like, Luke and I both listened to the Inside of You episode, and he talks about the third act of superhero movies specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And like this one is different,
For sure.
which is something that he's like, not enough people do this. And he wasn't talking about the Flash movie when he was talking about that, but then he kind of comes back around. And like after watching this, I'm like, oh no, I can see why Gunn would like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like your traditional third act ending type thing.
Yeah.
It's especially for a superhero movie.
Which we'll get to here in spoilers in a bit.
But like, I do think Gunn loves this movie. I don't think that was fake.
It also has a lot of heart in it, mainly with family stuff, which Gunn does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that probably spoke to him a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Also funny.
Like, Zaslav, though, definitely lying.
Yeah, definitely.
He probably didn't even watch it. He was probably like, darn it, I wanted to get a tax cut on this one, too. I'll just say it's the best movie ever.
Yeah, I thought the humor in this movie is really good. I'll go through pros, right? So,
yeah. Let's talk pros,
outside
cons.
of Ezra Miller, because I do think there's a conversation to be had about Ezra Miller, but I think the humor in this movie is really good. I think a lot of it is well placed. There is a bit in this movie about 80s action or 80s movie stars that works so incredibly well.
Just the
whole like, why is it upside down?
Is
it? It's like, oh. There's some really good funny bits in this, and a lot of it does have to do with Ezra playing against Ezra, which is cool. Other pros for me, costuming. I do like the super suits, both the handmade ones and the actual suits.
You know what I thought was super interesting, and I don't know if anybody really talked about this before the movie came out. When it showed Ezra in the new Flash outfit, everybody's like, why does that helmet look weird? The cowl look weird? It's because it's not supposed to fit him.
Yeah, it makes sense in the context.
Yeah.
And
it's great, and there's a great joke, a little gag line right before that fight, which is phenomenal. I loved it.
Because when it's in normal Flash, the suit looks really good.
Yeah, it looks way better.
Yeah.
But when it's on the younger version, it's like, oh. And that's like a lot of the trailer is the younger version of the Flash.
Yeah, way more of this trailer came from the second act than I anticipated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad CG in the third. Or, technically it was supposed to look that way.
Yeah.
I'll call it bad. They can call it
intentional.
We'll talk about that here in a second.
My last pro is Supergirl and Batman. Very, very good. Very, very happy with how that turned out. I don't know that Sasha Calle will be around moving forward.
Please.
But if she is,
please bring her back.
I'm not concerned. I think she's really good.
She's great.
I thought she did a great job. I thought she did a lot with a little.
Yeah.
Which is always a good indication of somebody's ability. So.
Yeah, the only things that I didn't like about either her character or Batman are more story, plot. It's probably editing. Things were probably cut for runtime or pacing. That it just kind of feels like, oh, we're jumping ahead a little too quick.
Yeah. But
ultimately, I agree. I think all of the cast is really pretty strong. Maybe not Zod.
Michael Shannon's just there to collect dollars.
Michael Shannon
is
He's unraveling.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's unraveling in real time right now. Like, just hating on he's reached that stage. He's in, like, the Brett stage where the old man yells at the cloud. Like, he's just, like, complaining about everything. Star Wars they're just spectacles. This wasn't satisfying to be a part of. Like, all these things. It's like, dude, you're not helping, like, anything right now. Just take your money and go home. I love Michael Shannon, but he seems very bitter and angry for some reason.
Don't know why. But in any case, like Luke, you mentioned earlier, the family stuff is great.
Yes.
Barry's parents, we got a recasted dad.
Who did good.
Who did really good. His mom, I think that's kind of the linchpin of making sure the emotional story works. The whole reason Barry's trying to go back in time is to prevent this tragedy. And him learning the consequences of those actions and what it means.
And the spaghetti.
Oh, that scene made me really hungry the second time I saw it. I'm not going to lie.
I think it does. It has something interesting to say. It's not the first time in the last month we've had that conversation around fate or destiny. And in one, it's very different than the other. And I don't dislike either, which is nice. It was nice to, like, walk out of the theater and not be, like, mad at this movie because it made me, feel like I had to be a determinist to appreciate it. No, It's like, no, there's some things are just sealed. I don't know.
I've also been watching Dark, and it, like, kind of goes into that a little bit too, and it's timey-wimey.
Yeah.
So, like, all of these things happening at once is just, like, strange timing.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about music?
I thought it was pretty good. I really like the main theme. But I think, honestly, like, the Elfman theme for Batman is iconic.
Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah.
It works.
It works.
It's a serviceable score.
But, like, there's
I've not listened to it again, though, either.
The theme where he, like, kind of Barry runs to his old house and he's, like, looking out and there's the flashback sequence. When he runs away the song is called Run.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that song a lot. The rest, though, yeah, it's fine.
I think
it's serviceable.
It has some good moments, but ultimately,
I'm going to listen to it tomorrow now.
Serviceable is a good way of putting it. I think it relies a little too much on the Elfman Batman motif. I just hear it every time. It's like, hey, remember Batman? Remember?
At least it wasn't as egregious as Justice League, though. Whedon's cut, where it's just like
for snapping.
Batman's theme is the main theme of the movie. It's the Justice League theme. It's just like, oh, Elfman, I thought you were gonna actually compose something.
Oh no, he phoned it in on that for sure. Any other things we want to talk about real quick before we jump into spoilers?
Just quick cons. I think we hit on CGI. Obviously, the CGI doesn't look great.
Bro, it was intentional.
Yeah, go into this knowing that it's not going to look... Like, CGI-wise, it's not going to look pretty.
I also think, too, they're talking about the chronosphere.
The chronoball.
And just kind of the slow-mo speed stuff. If that all looked good, there's still a lot of bad CGI in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious how much time
they got
FX artists got on this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was even a quote. There was someone who's like, if it looks like we were only allowed a week on it, it's probably because we were only allowed a week. It's just like, it's rough. It's not a lot of time, so it gotta make sense why it doesn't look so good.
Yeah, I don't know if the word is comping, but it's in the trailer when Barry's like getting struck by the lightning and he's shirtless. There's like one streak of lightning that like is very clearly like off of him, and it looks really bad. And I notice it every single time, and I was like, "Oh, maybe it's not in the movie." Nope, it's definitely in the movie.
It might even just be a production decision because like the last battle takes place in a desert, so it's brown floor, blue sky. So it's not very visually interesting.
No, it's not.
And it doesn't help the effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you would have a more interesting set, probably hide some of that. Like
The old classic shoot it at night. Works like a charm, man. The CW's made a killing off of that.
A con I have is just kind of in general for speed stuff. They should have done more. Look how fast I am stuff. And shown how fast speedsters are. It's one of the best parts about Eternals. You watch Makari just, and it's almost all slow mo.
Yeah,
which is so visually uninteresting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, it is a key. Like, the Flash is a speedster. Like, make things feel fast.
Yeah.
Like, the movie doesn't feel fast.
No,
which is like
it doesn't help that the third act is fighting Kryptonians who are
also fast.
Also fast.
Yeah. Yep. No.
Which, like, on paper is like, oh, we got to match them up against the formidable enemy. Why not the Kryptonians? Like, that makes sense. But
like, and
it doesn't look good. Like, it doesn't look interesting. It's not fun to watch.
Yeah. The slow mo, like, speedster stuff can work really well when it's something like in X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past. Whatever the first Quicksilver one is when they're breaking out of the prison.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
But, like, that loses steam. Mm-hmm. You can't always do that.
Yeah.
And that this movie does that slow motion stuff too much.
I like the one slow mo bit I really do like is at the very beginning. It's
the baby shower.
Not the baby scene.
Oh.
The baby shower. That's good.
Yeah. It doesn't look good, but I thought it was a very funny scene.
It's super funny. But the bit it's in the trailer where like Barry is running forward and then like goes up and like the camera shifts with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the slow mo stuff that looks cool. But everything else, you're like, ugh. There's moments where Barry's like darting around, and you're like, oh, this is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They just don't do enough of it. No. I'm with you there.
And like, what's at least on a movie screen, the best example is Makari, where pretty much everything she does is from our perspective. Where it's like, dang, she's fast.
Yeah, this does too much trying to get into Barry's perspective.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say we complimented the Eternals today, and good job.
Yeah, I complimented the best thing about that movie.
Which is also like 5 minutes of that movie.
Say it doesn't happen that often, so
one of the three things that are good.
We're gonna give Eternals a win for the day.
The movie's not good.
Half a win, half a mark.
Makari's good. That movie's not.
Hat tip.
You get a way to go.
You did a couple things right.
Yeah.
My other con is kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to go into it here.
My last con is a big spoiler, and I won't go into it here as well.
Cool. Spoiler time? Or let's give our ratings.
Let's give our ratings.
Go first.
Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
I don't know if you're a fan of The Flash, I think you'll enjoy this. I would recommend it in that sense. If you're just kind of into superhero movies, yeah, maybe. And I think that's where it ends up there. But like, again, quality wise, it feels like it needed a little more time in the oven somehow. Or maybe like 3 years less. I don't know, one or the other.
Probably that.
The longer you leave it in the oven, the even more expensive and probably more burnt it's gonna get.
Yeah. So I don't know, Matthew McConaughey for me.
I'll give it a low fanboy worthy.
I give it a fanboy worthy.
All right.
What do you know? I split the difference.
Hey, good job.
Nice.
I might help that I've seen it twice. So
I was going to say, I liked it a lot, like walking out of the theater and going home, and then I think I just kind of forgotten a little bit about it, honestly. Like,
I had a lot of fun.
I've watched things.
As we're transitioning it here into spoilers, just be aware, at some point we'll start talking about spoilers, so if you want to avoid those, you feel free to dip out and pop back in, check the time codes if you're listening to this not live, and we'll jump into news and stuff in a minute. But like, the second act is a lot of fun. I get that feeling that you guys are talking about, because I love the interaction of those four characters together. And then the third act is like, hey, we're going to kill off two of these, and we're going to make it all about
All about the Flash.
bad Superman cameos. It's not all about that, but it's so egregious. It's so like, hey, remember Christopher Reeves? Hey, 10% of the population who knew that
The Nick Cage
Nick
thing.
Cage was a thing. Like, I don't need that. That's not important for this story at all. Why does this need to be a multiverse story? This could be a really tight, intimate story between these two multiverses with implications out that doesn't need all these cameos.
It's more of a timeline story is what it should have been.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I get that. I won't lie and say I didn't enjoy him, though. I thought it was cool.
I'm glad someone did.
I thought it was cool.
I had this as a con after when we saw it the first time. When I saw it last night, I was kind of excited for everybody to show back up.
It's cool.
I think they do just leave it there a little too long. Like, you can show them, and you can be like, oh, cool. But, like, we watched Nick Cage, like, fight a Brainiac spider. I mean, which was the movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, where was Grant? Or...
Yeah, like,
yeah,
I think
there
that's
were...
the bigger problem is the absence.
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessarily who was shown as much as it is, like, okay, we definitely could have had Grant Gustin here.
Yeah, we could have had Grant, John Wesley Shipp, and or else I don't know.
The kid from Smallville could have been in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of cameos. You could have even had the kid who played Wally. Make it real weird.
Throw in an animated one. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
we got live action Donald Glover in
Yeah.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
spoilers only, bro. No,
So I don't have
okay.
anything.
Everybody's seen that movie now, right?
I don't have anything like I don't put that as a pro or a con.
Sure. It's
I'm
just
pretty-
a thing.
Yeah, it's in the movie.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
fair.
fine. But I could definitely understand why people don't like it. I've seen people call it tasteless. I don't know.
We live in an era where, you know, the descendants or I don't know, usually it's the family of Christopher Reeves would need to sign off on something like this, right?
Yep. The
And
estate.
the estate. And whether or not you do that for a deceased person, depending, like, it's all just so up in the air on if that person you think would appreciate that or not. I don't know. I can't speak for Christopher Reeves. I'm not honestly sure the estate could speak properly for Christopher Reeves. What I will say is that I feel like it's dangerous to overdo.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, because I mean, I don't know.
I think the weirdest part about it though, like Brandon Routh is out there.
Yep.
Could have had Brandon Routh do it. I don't know. It's weird.
It's just weird to focus so much on those Supermen when it's a Flash movie, if there was some kind of different connection with like a deeper relationship with Kara, and you know, her seeing that Clark survived and I don't know how you do that right is what I'm saying, but there's a way to do that it feels more interconnected with the story rather than look at the big blue orb with the floaty man inside of it.
Yeah, I think that was more like the timeline was falling apart, and you're seeing like the lapses. Like I get why they did it.
I'd rather, but at this point, like we talked, I'd rather see other versions of the Flash.
I mean, we get one.
We get one,
and he's in the Chronosphere.
Who supposedly
he was just an old Flash. He wasn't anybody.
No, but the actor was like, yeah, that looks like me.
Teddy Sears.
Yeah,
from the CW Flash show.
But didn't necessarily get like paid.
He didn't do anything for it.
Yeah. And that's where I have a problem with
Yeah.
it, because he should have been compensated for that.
It's not supposed to be him though.
Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be him.
It's just
it
Jay
just looks enough like him.
A generic Jay Garrick. Yep.
Okay, never mind. Well,
yeah, it's a weird deal.
It's also kind of the outfit.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll let the lawyers settle that.
Yeah, I don't know that Teddy Sears. Is
I don't
gonna
think he
sue.
cares.
Yeah, I don't think he cares. He's
Maybe
like, I got
not.
a newborn. I need to sleep.
Maybe not.
But yeah, I mean that whole bit, the cameos as a whole, I take it or leave it for me.
Wonder Woman cameo.
Great.
Yeah,
I thought that
it's
was
good.
really good.
It's good. The lasso
better
the lasso
than-
truth bit was hilarious.
Better than Shazam.
Yeah.
Yes, way better.
Because it made sense. They
yeah.
said, hey, we need her help, but she's not answering. Shazam, she was just there.
Yeah, I would agree. It's on like individual case by case basis. I think it's better than Shazam.
What does Batman say in that scene?
He's like, my ego won't allow me to say thank you.
yeah, that's right. That bit is so good.
I have childhood trauma. I also have childhood trauma. I also just love how she sits there and she's like, yeah, I freaking love this lasso, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets people every time.
Yeah. And then the Aquaman cameo.
Yeah. I didn't understand.
It's there.
that.
You know what that was? Ezra Barry talks about how he's the same in both universes. So he's going to be the same in the next universe too, so they can still have a Jason Momoa Aquaman. That's what they did there.
That is so much deeper than it needs to be.
Well, they got him drunk and let him fall in a puddle.
I mean, it's Jason Momoa just doing himself, right?
Yeah, doing his thing. Yeah.
Great.
So my last con that I have is just like your villain is Dark Flash and like your overarching villain, I guess.
I don't know if
really-
I agree with that.
That's what they were presenting in the toy world, is that the Dark Flash, but
No.
the whole Dark Flash stuff there was not enough.
Mm-mm.
It's not there. Like, you get it the one time, like early in the movie, Barry sees the Dark Flash.
Yep.
And then you get it at the end. And the conversation that's there, that whole build up to the Dark Flash reveal is good.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
It's settling it that doesn't work very well. It's like, I don't know. You have an opportunity to have a speedster fight, and you don't do it.
Good.
Luke disagrees.
It
with
wouldn't
us.
have looked good, and now we can save it for a future movie. So I'm happy about that. Yes, you're right. It probably should have been what was going on, but I'm glad it's not. Because eventually we'll get a new Flash. And
Over under on years till a new Flash movie.
Flash video game 2028.
I'll set the over under at 12 years, and I will take the over.
Like Flash solo movie? Or just a Flash character?
I'll say a Flash character.
Like 3 or 4 years.
I'm gonna take the over.
I'll split the diff. I'll go 6 on like a new.
I think it's a
Flash
long
character.
time. I think they're going to distance this.
He's gonna pop up for like 20 seconds and something, and I'm gonna be right. Let's go.
I'm talking
Will
about
it be
a
Ezra?
He's gonna be like in Creature Commandos or
Oh my
something for like
gosh.
10 seconds.
Like
No,
later,
it's not gonna be
It'll be
Ezra.
like next spring.
It will not be
Creature Commandos.
Ezra.
I don't think so either. I don't think it'll be Barry.
I could
Yeah.
agree.
I think they're
Yeah.
going Wally.
I
They're going to
think
go
they-
Wally West and move
Wally
think
on.
will
that's
pop
smart.
up in the Justice League movie that comes out in 2028 or 9.
Oh boy, that's fast. That's real fast.
Yep.
They're restarting. So.
I mean, that's 4 years after Superman. That seems so fast.
What did you guys think about the message of, like, you can't change fate? It's the opposite. Sorry, slight spoilers for Miles' story in Spider-Verse, I guess. But like the premise of, the belief that Miles has is that like these canon events do not have to happen, right? Like he can make his own destiny. And it's kind of the antithesis in this, and like no matter how many times you try, you can't stop it from fate is going to kill your mom. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. Think about it.
Because I don't like the message, but I think it works for the story. Did I just ruin the movie for Tyler?
No, because I like it. I like it because there's two ways you can look at it.
Mhm.
You can look at it as a way of writing yourself into a corner, or you can look at it as a way of having a fixed story where it's like, hey, no matter what, your hero can't go change everything willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Some things are just going to happen. Cool. You can have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And they can do a lot of really cool stuff and think they're changing things, but they won't. Or you can set stakes for something in the future where they find a way to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think it works as a building block.
Mm.
Like, I like it. I also think, like, I'm really happy that this doesn't end with Barry getting what Barry wants. Like,
I mean,
because
no,
the
but yes.
yeah, like the inspiration for this, like, is Barry learning,
to
you
not
can't
mess
just
with
go
the
back.
past.
Yeah,
Except
like-
for rearranging the aisles of tomato sauce.
right. But like, I don't know. It works for me. I'm cool with it.
Okay. No, at the end of the day, like, for this story, I think it works.
Yeah.
I think that it helps drive the emotional core of, like, it helps make that last
Scene
with
Yeah.
his mom work really, really, really well. I don't love that message, but I'm okay with it. I don't have to have every movie placate to my worldview.
I was gonna say this is not a movie that I'm going to and I'm going, what am I gonna get from this in my life
yeah,
other than a few hours of enjoyment?
sure.
I didn't need this movie to speak to me.
Bruce has that line at the end of the first act where he talks about not living your past. What does he say? Luke, you just watched this.
Don't live your past, live your life.
Yeah, something like that. And
There's your message.
there's the message, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's what Barry has to come to realize. And he does. And I think that that's still a good message, even outside of the very intricate, like, don't go messing around with time and fate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also, maybe I'm going way too into it, but
It's not possible.
the Flash's whole being is a paradox. They kind of go into it in the movie how for Dark Flash to exist, he had to push Flash out of the chrono bubble
Mm-hmm.
at that time.
Right.
But like in the comics, Reverse Flash kills his mom.
Yeah.
So he eventually becomes a CSI, so he gets powers. And eventually the Flash inspires Eobard, Reverse Flash, to get Flash powers, but then he has to go back in time. Like, it's
Yeah.
all a paradox, so it's like arguing with like fate and paradoxes is just like whatever.
It's way above the pay grade.
Luke
So-
just likes red shiny thing go fast.
I do.
I just think too, and this is I think what I was trying to verbalize earlier. It gives Flash limitations,
Yeah,
which is needed with a character who can travel through time willy-nilly.
sure.
It allows you to have organic limitations on a character moving forward.
Mhm.
Unlike Zack Snyder's Justice League, where it's like, let's just go back and start this over. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we lost. Barry, go. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now we have to keep Barry at an arm's length so that he can run back in time to save us every time we screw something up.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go back and you have the whole fate thing, it's like, well, now that's a limitation. We can't just do that.
Mm.
And that's what I mean. I think when I say it's a building block, you can use that moving forward.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, like, even in the comics, it created the New 52.
yep.
And now it's making James Gunn's DCU. Like, now this universe is dead,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and now we're going over here.
Now we have our new Batman and George Clooney.
You wish.
Yeah, definitely not. That moment, though, is one of my favorite jokes in the whole movie. Is when he's like, "Who the f is this guy?" Like, dude, that killed me. Like, because the movie's not heavy on language and stuff,
No.
but then he just drops like a random f bomb, and the delivery is great.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I guess, one of the reshoots after
Yeah.
Ezra had been in treatment. And they said Ezra showed up, shot it, and was done really quickly.
Mm.
Locked in.
In Flash.
Ezra was locked in, they said.
Yeah. I mean, I sure hope that they continue to get the treatment they need and stay on the straight and narrow. I'm not trying to use that as like a religious thing. More just that, they have had a
tumultuous
few years. Number of years and made some really poor decisions, and they need to understand and live with and feel the repercussions of those decisions. At the same time, I am 100% for them being rehabilitated. And
you're doing a great job, man. You're doing a really good job at this.
They seemed okay at the premiere.
Yeah. So and I hope that they can get back into acting. I guess I think that they're an incredibly talented artist.
Mm-hmm.
And with time, I hope that the world can come to accept, forgiveness, and again, not that they shouldn't live with those consequences.
Yeah.
Consequences are important. But
you can't run from fate.
They have Hey, they have a very promising future if they can stay out of trouble.
Yep.
Okay, are we done with the Flash?
I have just one more comment.
Okay, good.
For whenever they do bring back the Flash.
Yes.
Please, less lightning. I don't like the lightning aesthetic.
Like being everywhere.
Like being all over their suit? And,
just in general.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's too much. Like, if you're going light speed and you're going back in time, great. Lightning. But why can't we just go, like, zzz, zzz, zzz?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't like the static charge thing. I didn't like the shooting lightning.
Yeah.
Didn't like it in the Flash TV show either.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Like projectile lightning.
It's like, what? His power isn't lightning, it's running.
No, but it's a symbol, so we gotta incorporate it.
It's only because he was struck by lightning.
They need lightning lightsaber.
No! Like, I want to see the Flash run into battle, do a, like, flying eagle kick, knock somebody over. He doesn't have super strength, and just, like... Like, there's probably, like, one of the best action parts in the whole movie is when Keaton fights Non.
Yeah.
And he's just crawling on him. He blows him up. Why didn't I get to watch the Flash do that to anybody?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I mean when I talk about a disappointment in the Flash's action is that we don't get cool moments like that. We have a couple with like the shooting lightning out of the hand, like being the Emperor, and them when they kind of team up, they have some cool moments, but ultimately, like, the action is very Batman centric. It's very Kara centric, Supergirl, Superwoman centric for at least the final fight.
Yeah.
And then Barry has his internal demons, which is a fine thing.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. I just think we finally get a Flash movie, and I'd like to see the Flash. Unless you're like trying to tell me that this Flash is definitely like a pacifist and trying to not fight, then that would be fine. That would be an interesting decision to make. Let me see him fight some fools. Let me see how he's grown since the Justice League saved one person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you know what the best Flash action scene is? It's from Injustice 2. When he's fighting Reverse Flash on the freeway.
Oh my gosh. Give me a speedster fight.
We'll have to show it to you.
Yeah, we'll show you after the show.
Watch it.
It goes in between slow-mo and real speed.
Ooh,
it's cool.
It's
nice.
so cool.
Nice.
Also, Injustice 3, win.
Next year.
Is there news on Injustice 3? We should jump over to some news.
I don't believe you, no.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap up our Flash review. Here we'll talk about the news. There were a few news things, and then we'll hop into kind of what other things we watched or did this week after news. My first news story just was more this week. I didn't get a lot of last week's news stories, so you guys may have to fill in on that if there was news. But
I don't have a whole ton of stuff.
Warner Brothers Discovery laid off a bunch of Turner Classic Movie people, and that got a bunch of people real nervous real fast. So
they're just, Turner Classics, Warner Bros. Classic is to do something dumb.
Wouldn't be them if it was.
They're just filling in their quota of making stupid decisions.
And they have 2 this week. But they did kind of backtrack that after like Spielberg and I think it was Scorsese and like Wes Anderson or someone like
Ryan Reynolds also spoke up.
Yeah, all were like,
he's in the back like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, they're like 3 like Spielberg and Scorsese like drove down to the Warner Brothers lot and was like banging down
the door.
Zaslav's door like, hey.
Well, he probably has a permanent office there, so
probably. But it sounds like they did
like,
a little bit of backtracking on some of that, and the filmmakers were in good spirits, I believe is what they were saying about the future of Turner Classic Movies. Look, if you have Max and you haven't explored the Turner Classic Movies, please do. They're classics for a reason.
Yeah, and go just help those people out.
Yeah, help get some numbers on those movies so that we can remind Warner Brothers Discovery that they're important.
It's tax cuts, though, man. Zaslav loves those tax cuts. He's like, give me the tax cut.
What else? What do you guys got?
I have 2 quick things here because there's another big one in the Warner world. But the Multiversus game officially shut down until 2024.
What?
Yeah, they're taking it offline to rework it, I guess.
I told you it was bad. Nobody believed me.
I still enjoyed playing it. Harley Quinn Season 4.
I'm the only person in the world that thought that game was bad.
Harley Quinn Season 4 with a July 27th release. So it survived the cuts at Max.
I still don't want season 3. Don't tell anybody. I just told the world. Okay, good.
You guys are whispering way too much.
Yeah, so that's cool. Harley Quinn Season 4, July 27th. So they announced that release date really close to release.
Yeah, they really did.
Which is cool. Always nice. Thank you.
Don't have to wait long.
Yeah, no.
Appreciate it.
And then my last news story is the Superman Legacy stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Superman!
So screen testing was done over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Did Gunn say anything?
I don't know. He said he's not going to address this stuff anymore, but there's a giant write-up on the Hollywood Reporter about it.
It's fake.
So we won't report on it then.
No.
Luke's calling it good.
No, what was it?
So
I heard this. So.
They had 6 people come in to screen test. They did them in pairs, which I thought was interesting.
Danny DeVito.
The pairs were Nicholas Hoult and Rachel Brosnahan, Tom Brittney and Phoebe Dynevor, and David Cornsweet and Emma Mackey. They were given several scenes to film, both in the Daily Planet, and then all the Superman actors came back for a second day, and only Emma Mackey returned for day 2, where they did screen tests of the characters in the Superman costume, with Mackey playing Lois. So yeah, that happened. It sounds like the announcement's gonna come like this week.
No, I'm just waiting for none of these 6 to be announced.
It's all a red herring.
I feel like that's what's gonna happen. Probably not, but I don't know.
I am kind of, maybe it's because I don't feel like I have a huge stake in it. Like I see all of these actors' faces. I've seen some of their performances, and like I would be pretty happy with any of them, I think, at this point. But
I've not seen Tom Brittney.
It is kind of refreshing to know a little bit more about behind the scenes on it. It feels a little more 2023 in terms of like open workplace culture and here's what's going on. I know it's not intended to be that way, and definitely all of the papers and press are like just hoping to get clicks, but it's getting me a little more excited for Superman Legacy.
Bro, you're not out of 10 out of 10 yet? Or Superman?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, guys, Game Lord's got the prediction of the year.
Craven.
It's gonna be Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
The hierarchy of power in the DC universe is going to change again.
I'm not even gonna lie. If that actually happened, I would never watch another DC movie again. I think I just quit.
No, I do. I planted my Corn Sweat flag a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I would really like Corn Sweat to get the role. I think it'd be good for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Brandon, friend of the show, today a little bit, and he had kind of brought up his only concern with Corn Sweat is he does kind of look a little bit like Cavill. You know, which is going to piss
I can
off
see
some...
Gunn going against that.
Yeah. So I could see that being the reason he doesn't get it. But if he gets it, I'll be really excited. One, I'll get a prediction for the year.
Yeah.
2 points of it, I think. And then 2, I just think he's a really good actor. I really liked him in Hollywood. He did a lot in Pearl with not a ton of time in the movie.
Yeah.
Also, he's young, got the look. He's big.
Alexander and Bill Skarsgård.
I was gonna
Also,
say,
yeah,
so
that's the second leg of this thing.
Yeah. The Skarsgårds are apparently in the runnings for Lex Luthor.
Yep.
Oh,
Both would be great.
Also, after Superman and Lois are cast, they're gonna probably pivot to Lex and then the Authority. So the Authority characters will be in this movie as well.
who the heck is this?
So just to keep hanging out in Warner Brothers Discovery Land for a little while longer, those dum-dums signed a deal this week for an AI-driven film management system.
Yes!
Just what the doctor ordered.
I didn't know this. Go back to... Oh, it's a different thing. In our Secret Invasion review, I just talked about how AI is stupid for like 5 minutes.
I broke Luke. I'm sorry, Luke.
God dang it. We're in a writer's strike because of AI. Hey, let's make an AI division. Ugh. Absolute cringe.
Read the room.
Yeah. Poor decision making. Supposedly.
What if the division, the AI division, is specifically so it can like never work? Like, this is anti-AI. We put a movie in this. We can be like, you used AI.
We got to get in there and
then we
manipulate the source code.
Yeah.
There should be a movie about that.
Source Code starring Jake Gyllenhaal on a train.
Bro. Brilliant.
Half a man on a train. Spoilers.
But yeah.
Is that movie good?
Yeah. The movie's awesome.
I remember liking it.
I've seen it. Yeah, I remember liking it as well.
It's not great, but it's super cool.
I wonder if it reviewed well.
My
It did. Wow, 92%. Good lord.
All right, Jay.
It's interesting going back and like old movies you remembered as a kid, looking at their Rotten Tomato scores.
So that movie, Moon, and Mute
are all
a
connected, right?
unofficial trilogy. Yeah, they're the Duncan Jones, I think is his name. Who made it? It's like his own little trilogy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure I knew that. I haven't seen what was the third one? Mute.
It's with Paul Rudd. I heard it's not very good. On Netflix.
But I've seen Source Code and Moon. Moon is great.
Moon is so good.
Moon is so freaking good. Anyways.
Oh, he did a book to wrap it all up.
My last news story I have is Microsoft is going to battle against the Federal Trade Commission.
The
about
FTC
their
is so stupid.
Activision
What
Blizzard
is a video
acquisition.
game? Is it a video or is it a game?
And it just reminds me how dumb our elected politicians are.
Oh man.
Well, I mean,
I do have.
I guess the FTC isn't elected, right? The FTC is.
It's a staff.
yeah,
thing.
Brett,
Staffed.
you idiot.
I do have some questions about
know.
this.
Yeah,
right?
go ahead.
So like, and
I'll
I don't know if they're
provide
questions as
Do
much
you
as they're like.
promise to put Call of Duty
Oh,
on
dude!
PlayStation?
And the judge is like, if they pay for it, like, dude, I loved the judge in this. Seems so fed up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But some of the things I do have questions on, and not necessarily questions, but I'm curious what your guys' opinions of it are. So like the focus is on obviously Xbox exclusives, all that stuff, right? But like, one, Sony didn't show up, which I thought was interesting. They did the second day, but they didn't want their stuff to be like live shared, so they recorded it in private. Also, the big elephant in the room was Sony was working on getting Starfield to be exclusive.
Yeah.
And that's when Phil and the team was like, we got to do something because we got to find content.
They went full Bruce Wayne.
They really did.
They did.
They
but
really
like,
did.
Everybody kind of is getting hung up on that. But at the same time, it's like if you listen to what he's saying, he's like, no, we had to guarantee content for our platform. It was the only way we felt like we could do it. And like the fact that statement is exactly what's wrong with this whole thing. It's like we're going to investigate.
No more exclusives.
That would be perfect. But like they're investigating Microsoft for that. But the reason Microsoft is doing it is because Sony's doing it.
Yeah.
And I just think that's so interesting.
Here, how about this? After Zuckerberg and Elon have their fight, we get Spencer and Jim Ryan in there.
Cool with me. That'd be fun.
Or we can teach Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan to work together, and they can fight Zuckerberg and Elon.
Tag team match.
Yes. Each of them have to have their Batman v Superman moments, though.
Yeah.
And then they realize that
Teaming up works better.
they have to team up. Big Tech has to fight Big Tech. Shit, this doesn't work.
I feel like most people just want to see
Who's
Elon.
the bad guy? Can they all burn?
I feel like most
Not
people
Phil.
just want to
Like,
see
not
Elon
Phil.
and Zuckerberg lose. I'm going to be
Feels
honest.
close to my heart.
I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from this, and I should add, all three of us have both consoles. We have all three consoles, actually. I think there's a very clear,
Gamer
like,
bro.
pro-consumer feel to Xbox that I don't feel like Sony has.
Yeah.
And I think the FTC, what this whole thing to me has proven is that Xbox has been saying they're pro-consumer for a long time, and this to me is proving it.
Yeah.
If anything, like it's just like no, like they're saying it, and it's not just lip service. They mean it. Like this is a thing because, like you think about if Starfield was exclusive to PS5, where can you play that game?
Yeah.
PS5. If Starfield is exclusive to Xbox, where can you play it? Xbox, PC, your phone, whatever streaming device they put out that's budget friendly.
Yeah.
It's going to get to more screens being exclusive to Xbox. I don't know. This whole thing has been so interesting to me. Like, especially to seeing people just endlessly defend one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see both sides of this at times. Like, I think there's some things Sony's legit concerned about that should be legitimate concerns. But it's just so wild. This whole ordeal. The fact that this is even where, like, taxpayer dollars are going to is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a bizarre scenario.
Agreed.
All that to say, can't wait for Starfield to come out. So excited to play it on my Xbox Series S via Game Pass.
Day one.
Day one. 5 days early.
Yeah, I think what will, for me...
Also, the FTC is making the case for Xbox on their own.
Absolutely. What, if anything, my opinion on this whole case is that the FTC is actually really bad at understanding what is pro-consumer and more concerned about just in terms of like number, like big number. Like I think they saw 69 billion and freaked out. I don't disagree with that. I don't think you should be like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. Like you should have questions, but at the same time, then you need to present a cohesive and intelligible argument. Mm-hmm. And the FTC has not done that.
Do you need a Microsoft key to stream games? No. Phil and Sarah have crushed this too.
Yeah. So I think this will be...
We'll find out Thursday this deal's going through.
Yeah. Either A, the deal goes through and we're like, obviously, like this makes sense. Based on the arguments, this makes sense. Or the decision still comes down against Microsoft and I don't know. It's a huge failure in terms of. Look, I'm still nervous about the deal. I still don't love it, but understanding that like Microsoft has 18% of the market share right now does not make me worried about them acquiring Activision. Like, that's not a big enough share to be a threat to Sony.
Do you think Phil Spencer's tired of having to tell everybody he's in third place?
Guys, we're in last place.
I think
A little bit.
I'm
This
sure
is-
We're losing.
I'm sure there's some of that, but also like after the whole Redfall thing, I feel like his entire demeanor changed.
Yeah.
Because he was like, look, if we have more of this, like I'm out of a job.
Yeah.
And like since that moment, he's been very much like an open book. Like, look, man, we're not doing enough.
Yeah.
We recognize that. We're trying to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's not really been that way before.
No.
He's usually super confident.
Yeah.
And I've not felt like he's very confident at all. Like when he went on the Kinda Funny Xcast after the whole Redfall thing, he basically like went there to have egg thrown on his face. Like he and he did it willingly. Like he was like, okay. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. I'm sure there's part of him who's tired of saying it. But also like I think his posture has changed quite a bit in the last 6 months.
I could see him. I mean, I don't know if this goes through and it's more, there's not any more big acquisitions in the plan. I could see him hanging out, being happy, just trying to get things back on the rails. If it goes through and it's still like tumultuous, I could see him being like, okay, I got this through. I'm out.
Yeah.
It's time to retire. Because you can only...
We've hired Jim Ryan to run
Activision.
Xbox.
So, all right. Any other news stories before we move on?
We talked about it in the Flash review, but in case people skipped that, Andy Muschietti, director of the Flash, is directing Batman: Brave and the Bold.
Yep.
Which very excited for.
Me too.
I am excited to see what he can do with a clean slate, more or less. This was the Flash was a project he inherited that had all sorts of problems, and yes, definitely he put his own touches on them. But it was the Brave and the Bold is not going to be plagued with 10 years of development hell.
Yeah.
So very
As far as we know.
yeah. Fair enough.
Don't jinx it.
So again,
20
very
years
excited
later.
about that as well. Agreed. What'd you guys do this week? Let's talk about some updates.
Time out.
No,
Mateo, stay on your side of the bag.
No.
Don't be an idiot. Stop trying to be a hero. You're sucking this year.
Who's bagging?
Jorge Mateo, man. I don't know why he tries to play that ball. It's so
Never
stupid.
bagged first.
I'll talk very quickly. 2 things I did.
Yeah.
I finished the book Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson. It's a very popular book. Came out in 1992. Very well reviewed. Yes, too. I give it a Matthew McConaughey. It was all right. It is. I think my review for it. Oh shoot. Stall. It's like a cyberpunky type of book. Set in the future, obviously.
Hence the cyberpunk.
The VR world is called the metaverse, which I think is kind of, pretty forward thinking. My stuff's not loading.
Just blame my Wi-Fi, Tyler.
Dude, your Wi-Fi hates me.
I know it does.
But basically what I wrote is like, it's an interesting backdrop for a story with not a lot of interesting stuff going on, right? Like, you have this really interesting future world, you have the metaverse, you have all this stuff, and you're like, oh, we're going to bring down this guy who's doing this drug. And like, it goes into like religions of the Bible is where we end up.
Oh.
And how it's very similar to coding and all that. Like, it gets real weird. But it is entertaining. There are some very interesting choices with a character named YT, the 15-year-old girl who gets in some pretty interesting and precarious situations. So that's that. And then I started a book called Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. This is the prequel to the book To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. This is the the first contact story that then leads to Sleep in a Sea of Stars.
Gotcha.
And boy, oh boy, Christopher Paolini. They're on this planet, and there's a lot of wind coming from this thing that they found. And when I'm like reading this book, I feel like I'm in a windy tunnel, and I don't know how better to describe it than to say that. Like, it's really, really impressive. Like, moving through this story feels like it's hard. It feels difficult. It feels like you're kind of a part of these challenges with the crew.
Yeah.
And I think it just speaks to Paolini's ability to write. Like, I'm not a Paolini like truther. Like, I didn't read Aragon or anything like that.
Boo.
But man, like, this is really, really good stuff. Right now, shaping up to probably be my favorite book this year.
Nice.
I've been very, very impressed with it. I can't put it down. Like, I'll probably finish it.
Not holding it
this
right
week.
now.
Yes, I'm not. This is true, and that's all I did.
What a liar.
Love it. I did a few things. I watched the new... No, it's not a season necessarily, but a new batch of episodes over on Netflix of I Think You Should Leave. It's a sketch comedy show.
Why refuse to think so?
With Tim Robinson. I've seen more of his stuff like on TikTok or Instagram Reels. There's little bits of the show that keep getting pulled out because they're hilarious.
Is this the Are You Sure About That?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the...
Okay.
Are you sure about that? You sure about that? Or the...
He rides the zip line.
let me go, I'm doing something. 55 burgers, 55 fries, 100 nuggets.
I just want to watch you reenact it all.
Anyways, it's really funny. It's very mature in terms of like it's M-rated TV, R-rated movie stuff. So like it can be a little language heavy, but it is really funny if you're kind of into that like Aunty Donna sketch comedy. It's not as complex as Aunty Donna. I think Aunty Donna is
Probably also
on
not
another
as
level.
Australian as
Definitely
Aunty
not
Donna.
as Australian. No, that's for sure. But I really enjoyed it. I give that a fanboy worthy. I really enjoyed
Are
that.
you sure you had to think about it?
Fine, a low fanboy worthy. What do you want from me, Luke?
Are you sure you're second guessing yourself?
I also watched the anime Skull Island.
Oh, I watched that.
Luke and I get to talk about this too?
Heck yeah.
We get to talk about this extremely average show.
Yeah. It was a little bit of...
Is it?
8?
Yeah, probably 8. I was going to say 7. That's
Like
probably
8
8.
20-minute episodes.
Here's what I have to say about Skull Island.
Yes.
Skip everything, watch episode 7 and watch episode 8 because those are awesome. The rest doesn't matter.
It's, yeah.
IMO. Like, oh my gosh, the kids are so annoying in the show. It's the same as the live action movies. You just don't like the children.
Naturally.
Do
they die?
No.
Of course not.
Spoilers. You see a lot of cool things on the island.
Yeah. It
And
very
you
much
barely
is...
see Kong.
Like, each episode is very much like here's a different creature to explore for this episode. It kind of feels like a prehistoric Wildcrats, where you guys don't know about Wildcrats because you're not...
Like Zaboomafoo?
Yeah.
I know Wildcrats.
Crap Brothers.
I met the Crap Brothers.
My gosh, okay, never mind.
Got their autograph.
I apologize for being incompetent.
Like that.
My brother said it to them.
But they you know, it's like each episode is kind of like a, hey, we're in this ecosystem, let's explore the yada yada yada. And so like, hey, we're getting shipwrecked and now we're on this island and now we're on the beach and what are these crabs? The giant and so there are some cool creatures with some cool designs, but ultimately, like Luke said, kind of after episode 1, 2 through 5, 6 maybe, feel very much the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. And you have to spend so much time with the two boys.
Yeah.
And there's just...
Mark and... I want to say Christopher, but that's not right.
Jeff?
No, it's a C. I'm pretty
The
sure
name
it's a C.
I don't remember, but they are so annoying. I liked Annie.
Annie was great.
She's a fish out of water character, which is funny.
Mhm.
Always good.
Mike though. I think Mike.
Mike.
The
It's
one-
Mike, not Mark. Mike.
He's just, you can tell he's written by an adult who has never met a child. He's
Charlie's the other one.
Okay, Charlie. Yeah.
Because she calls him Charles every once in a while,
Yeah.
and that.
Oh, maybe
pisses
it's
him off.
Charles that I don't like. Mike's the one who's injured.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike was okay. Charles sucks. He's so annoying. Oh, just like constantly complaining about how he doesn't have a cheeseburger or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I complain when I don't have a cheeseburger too.
But like Annie, like her backstory, I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 7, which is a flashback for Kong, is awesome.
Yeah.
So good. That is the best episode by far.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you just want to watch a little bit of it, just watch that episode.
I
You don't
think-
even really need episode 8.
I think the problem I have with it is like you could get the same experience out of this 4-hour thing as you like. It's Skull Island. It's Kong Skull Island. It's just with a few more children.
Yeah. And they reference Skull Island, the movie, all the time.
Yeah,
Like, remember when those helicopters came?
but it is
That was neat.
essentially it's essentially the same beats.
Yeah.
They're the same ish characters. You know, hey, here's a character who's been stranded. Kong has a backstory. There's a few more unique creatures, but even then they reference a lot of the same creatures. The skull crushers and the
Yeah.
giant buffalo was in there, and
I love the squid, though.
the squid looked dope. Squid was
I
awesome.
love the squid.
And I did
Squid is
like-
the main bad guy.
They introduce a new dynamic there between the squid and Kong, which makes for like at least a little bit of an interesting like here's why no one ever gets off the island
Yeah.
type of thing. So, and then it sets up a cool battle, but ultimately it's very mid. I think it's probably straight to streaming. It's
Yeah.
right where I would put it. Yeah.
Honestly, really disappointed because I was looking forward to that.
Well, we get, you know,
How was the
And-
animation? Was it good?
It was fine.
it was fine.
Okay.
It, you know,
Nothing insane, but
I think I just had my expectations high after like Pacific Rim, The Black.
Black Ring, yeah.
Like that was a, and this kind of had that vibe going into it. Hey, here are these kids, they're thrown into this, but then it kind of stayed the same. Kind of like one of the kids is gonna get kaiju powers, maybe. Mike's got this growing injury that we're not sure what's happening with him, and I wasn't sure where it would go, but ultimately it wasn't as good for sure.
Yeah.
So the other thing Luke and I also watched was Extraction 2.
The
Those-
second one. Extraction 2. The
He's
second
back.
one.
Chris Hemsworth is
Extraction
back
2,
for
Electric
more.
Dude
Um,
got shot in the neck in the first movie, and he had a 9-month recovery.
nice.
And a pretty good
I'm
training
just saying,
montage.
like-
Pretty good training montage too in
Yeah.
terms of like
I'm just saying, like, NFL players, they take a year from an ACL and stuff. Like,
yeah, this movie does pick up right where the first one left off.
you know what is really funny, though? Like, the last movie came out 3 years ago, like, just to make it the same amount of time.
Yeah.
It took him 3 years to recover from
You
getting
don't need
shot
that much time.
in the neck and falling off a bridge.
Spoilers, bro.
That was really the only thing where I was like, seriously?
Yeah.
That's not true, but...
Yeah.
Like, he's been doing this for 9 months.
Luke, you may remember this. Game Lord asked you talking in Extraction 1 or 2. Does he really hide behind a ladder from gunfire in that?
In the first one?
In the
Second
first
one.
one? Second one?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
There's
either.
a meme going around where there's like a helicopter shooting at him, and he's like underneath this thing, and there's a ladder, and he like tries to hug the wall, and the only thing in front of him is a ladder.
Ladder.
Yeah.
He's hugging the wall.
The ladder is
The
more for
ladder,
luck
the
than
ladder's
anything.
not necessarily. He's not using it strategically as protection.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a
From
it's
chopper
either,
fire.
it's either a ladder or there's nothing
Yeah.
on the other side. So I'm just gonna get behind this ladder and hope for the best. I think is probably the best way too.
Yeah.
All right. Extraction 2 is fine. I think the story, the plot, is worse than the first one. Mainly because
The second one, it feels so connected to him personally. It's a little bit ridiculous. Like
Isn't the first one? He's like a mercenary.
Yeah, he's hired to go get a kid out of a country that's like in the middle of a war zone. That's it. In the second one, his ex-wife is like, "Hey, go break into this prison, grab my sister and her 2 kids, and their dad leads the largest military organization for maybe a made-up country." And is a warlord and maybe one of the most dangerous people in the world. It's just like, what?
And he's like, yeah, bro, I got this. So he does his little training montage, and then he's ready to go.
Yeah. And then, okay, but then he
Action
breaks into the prison. And honestly, if you're not really interested in the movie, but you like action movies, just go watch this scene.
Yeah, the prison break is...
It's so awesome.
It's very cool.
It's about 25 minutes long.
It's a oneer.
It's one shot. It's really well edited. Intense action. It's nice. It doesn't just feel like a gimmick, which is a lot of oneers these days. Like, it feels really tense, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, what's around that corner? Because you know they're not going to show you. You're going to have to find out when the characters do. And it, like, just starts in one place and it goes to another, like, multiple places. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and I love there's kind of the moment where they get out, or a certain number of them kind of get out, and it feels expansive all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that. I think it would have almost been, call me crazy, I think it almost would have been easy just to be like, okay, we have the oneer in the prison. But, like, no, you get out of the prison. There's this huge, like, brawl. It continues through the brawl, and then it's like...
Car chase.
We're on a
train,
boat.
a gunfight.
Yeah.
Like, it hits all the 3 main action things you can do.
Yeah.
Hand-to-hand, car chase, gunfight.
Yeah.
All the oneer?
All of it.
That's sick.
It's all interconnected. And it builds really well.
Yeah.
Where it starts kind of slow, small, and it grows and it grows and it grows, and it feels really, really good.
Yeah.
So, after that, I got way less interested in the movie.
I did too. I love the skyscraper fight.
Mm-hmm.
What really takes me out though is just this feels like another one of the movies where there's a child who does not understand what's going on and is the reason for everything that goes wrong.
Luke just hates kids.
I do, you know.
Shout out Jordan Westberg for your first career MLB hit.
Boo.
That's awesome.
But like the kid just like I was just so annoyed with the older kid. Thought he was, well, I know he's a kid, so he's not like in his wheelhouse for acting yet.
But maybe an opportunity for mom to be a slightly better mom.
Sure.
I don't know. Like they're like right. No, I'm agreeing with you, Luke. I'm saying like
it doesn't help either that Sam Hargrave is not a actor's director.
Sure.
He's an action director.
Yeah.
That's why the action is really good in the movie, and the child acting is not good.
Yeah.
Man, I just struggled with that bit. Whenever there was not action happening, like, okay, tune out for a bit because it doesn't matter. Olga Kurylenko just shows up. She has the weirdest career to me.
The Taskmaster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the female actress that always just pops up. It's like, man, who should we get for this reveal? Olga Kurylenko. Let's get it. It's like Chris Nolan and Matt Damon.
Good call. Good call.
Like, she got out of the car and I was just like, this is weird.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
It was fun, but it's
Certainly not as good as the first.
It's not better than the first
No.
one outside of the oneer. I did like how we got more of his team.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. I like the brother and sister that like
Yeah, they were good. They provided some much needed
Dialogue,
just character
camaraderie,
character moments. I mean, it allows for Chris Hemsworth character to feel more approachable and more human, I think.
Yeah.
More...
In the first one, he's just talking to the kid he's rescuing. He's like, "Hey, shut up and get you out of here."
Okay.
The kid's like, please help. Save me from this guy too.
Where do you rank this?
I give it a Matthew McConaughey.
Same.
Whoa.
Same. It's
on my Letterboxd, what I said was 2.5 stars for the prison breakout, 0.5 star for Chris Hemsworth Aussie accent. Could have been more if the kid wasn't annoying. It's always nice to hear a Aussie actor's actual accent come out, so
yeah,
I enjoyed that.
Agreed. Well,
let the Aussies shine.
Luke, did you do anything else this week? That was all I had.
I said it earlier, but I finished Dark, which is an awesome show.
Yes.
I love their interpretation of time travel. I also, as like you get into season 3, you're just like, how is this gonna resolve? How? Because they keep like answering questions, and it's like, okay, so that's not gonna work. Okay, that's not gonna work. And then you get to the last 2 episodes, and it's just like, oh, wow, nice job. So I just really think they nailed the ending. I think those guys, people, I don't know, makes it. Whoever makes Dark in 1899, I think they'd be perfect for the Control TV show that should be made.
Yes.
They're probably
100%.
already doing something else though.
100%. Like it. Over in the chat, Game Lord Master says, Tyler not going to mention the show he started?
I started The Expanse. I didn't want to.
Great show.
I didn't want to bring it up because I've only watched the first episode, but started The Expanse. The first episode was great. Really, really excited to watch more. Honestly, it's kind of all I've been thinking about. It's affirmed what I've always thought in that I really need to read these books, because the setup for this, the way things are handled, it's really, really good. I am very excited.
Awesome show.
Yeah.
If you have Amazon Prime and you don't currently have a show, watch The Expanse.
Yeah, it's just funny because like Luke's recommended it to me forever.
Probably Lepke too.
Lepke's recommended it to me forever. And then Nick Gilchrist at work started talking to me about it, and I was like, dude, I'm getting beat up from everywhere. I was like, I gotta I'll watch the first episode. And like, I think part of it too is I'm reading Fractal Noise, which is the First Contact story. It's in space. It's more hard sci-fi. And then like Starfield's around the corner. So like I'm in that frame of mind. So like now is the time. Like there's not a better time for me to watch this than right now.
Right.
And so it's just really easy to start it and get excited about it. So
good.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. I know it was a little bit of a fuller episode as we had 2 weeks of content to get through. But come back next week as we're going to be reviewing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
And
celebrating my birthday.
And celebrating Tyler.
Happy birthday.
So until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see ya.
Happy birthday.